Hey everyone, today is July 5th, 2025. I want to talk about a couple recent news stories and a couple future watch dates. One of them actually being tomorrow. But we had on June 29th a plane crash that I warned about, a possible plane crash happening. It was a smaller plane crash. 6 people were killed, 2 pilots, co-pilot and pilot, and a family of 4 people. And I'm going to talk about why it's even more relevant, the connection that I was talking about with the movie The Dark Knight. So this is the 7th plane crash connecting to that movie, which is really crazy. There's no doubt that it's not a coincidence, right? 7 times. And I'm going to recap starting from the first time through number 7. But anyways, I also want to talk about the dozens that were just killed in the Texas flooding from yesterday and today, and how there's a connection with the video that Heliofont uploaded to YouTube, as well as their iPet Go 2 video. So I'll talk about that afterwards, and a couple other watch dates just to touch on briefly. So, going back to this movie, The Dark Knight, once again, recapping all the plane crashes connecting with this movie, the scene, the guy running with the number 86 in his jersey, running in Heinz Field. And we had several connections with when this field opened. So 86 days after it opened, there was a major plane crash. 265 fatalities in New York City just 2 months after 9/11, right? And I talked about the 86 connection to the Heinz family. Teresa Heinz, who is married to John Kerry currently, and John Heinz. She was married to John Heinz, but she became a widow after John Heinz died in a plane crash. But anyways, 7 times. This is the first one. This was before the movie released, The Dark Knight, right? 86 connection with Heinz Field. So then you had a plane crash on December 25th. I think around 38 people were killed, if I believe. But anyways, on Christmas, John Heinz was 86 years, 8 weeks, 7 days. Yeah, it's one number off. It's 86, 87. But I talked about the rule of Colel in my other video, how they consider 1 not being a number. It kind of seems like a cheat, but it's been proven relevant with these connections because many of them have been 1 number off from a perfect 86. This was one of them. And also, again, without the end date included, this would be 86, 85. But if you include the end date, it's a double 86. From Teresa Heinz, the day that she was born, we had a major plane crash in South Korea, 179 killed. And I talked about this with Jimmy Carter dying the same day. And since this day, the day that Jimmy Carter also died in Plains, Georgia, we've had a string of president connections with plane incidents as well as crashes, And we also had the deadliest plane crashes on presidents' birthdays. This was the deadliest plane crash of 2024, and it was Andrew Johnson's birthday. And then we had a plane crash on William McKinley's birthday, January 29th. So this was the deadliest plane crash in the United States this year, January 29th. And this connects to John Heinz, not with a double 86, but it does connect with the scene because it's 86 years, 14 weeks. This is number 86 catching the ball, and we see number 14 running alongside him. This was the day that the American Eagle flight collided with the Black Hawk helicopter. The president connections with the airports, Eisenhower, Reagan Airport. And once again, on John F. Kennedy's birthday, I warned about a possible plane crash connecting to this movie. On this date, May 29th, is Kennedy's birthday, and we had South Korean Navy patrol plane crashing in the country south, killing 4. And that is relevant because the guy running the ball was born in South Korea. Just like we had the major plane crash in South Korea connecting to Teresa Heinz, right? And once again, another connection with Teresa Heinz and another president birthday. We had the deadliest plane crash in 2025, Air India. 241 deaths. One number off from a double 86. 86 years, 8 months, 7 days after Teresa Heinz was born. And then in my last video, I warned about June 28th through the 30th, a plane crash connecting to John Heinz, right? I warned about 3-day span because we've had days that was one number off, right? But this happened exactly 86 years, 8 months, and 6 days. So it was a small plane, 6 killed, and smaller planes are more frequent, so you might not think, well, maybe it's just coincidence. But when you look further into it, look who died in this plane crash. The CEO of a steel company, right? This guy running the football is in the stadium where the Pittsburgh Steelers play. And this guy owned a steel company. So his name was James Weller. Died 67 years old. And he was the president and CEO of Liberty Steel Industries. So there was no president's birthday or president's death, but it's kind of interesting that his gematria, I don't have the slides, is the same as James Madison in the first 2 ciphers, 123 and 42. And James Madison died June 28th. His name is James. But again, a guy and his family that owned a steel company, right? Pittsburgh Steelers. So now, since we've had all these president connections, what do we have coming up tomorrow? George Bush's birthday, born on July 6. By the way, Skull and Bones also equals 76. And in this video, where Heinz Ward is running the football, Section 322 explodes first. Now take a look at Heinz Ward's first game to George Bush's birthday. It's exactly 322 months. So far, all the connections that I tracked were plane crashes. But this image shows an explosion, or what looks like an earthquake, the ground crumbling beneath them. So I'm watching for anything like that tomorrow on George Bush's birthday. Plane crash, an earthquake, some type of major explosion. We'll see. If we get something like that, then this will be the 8th event that I've had connecting to this movie, which is pretty crazy. Now I want to talk about the connection with the Texas floods, iPet Goat 2, and also another video that they uploaded a while back, and they since removed this video. So it was a short 38-second video showing it didn't really do anything. It just showed this image, the billboard, the reality TV stars from the Vanderpump Rules TV show, right? Then the cameraman, for some reason, does a close-up on Jax Taylor's face. So when I saw this, I immediately thought of the I Pet Goat 2 video where they showed the close-up of George Bush's face, right? And if you look at his eyebrows, it looks like waves. And right here, it looks like Jax Taylor's birthday, 7/11. He was born on July 11th, 1979. So that was one thing I was looking at, July 11th, something connecting to his birthday. But also, the numbers in the title of the video, I don't have that here, but it was 1345. MVI 1345 was in the title of this video. It was uploaded exactly 1 year before the Pope's death. And so I was looking at this time frame for a water event to occur. I was actually going to make a video a few days ago and say, watch for a water event around July 5th. It started on July 4th. If you look at July 4th with the end date included, it would be 13 months, 45 days apart, and without the end date included to July 5th, 13 months, 45 days apart. The name of the video, again, was MVI 1345. So we have the name, those numbers connecting with the time span from the date that was uploaded to this major event in Texas. Huge flooding in Texas due to Tropical Storm Barry. And you got the waves in George Bush's eyebrows. This is happening just a couple days prior to George Bush's birthday. And George Bush is from Texas, right? So you have the connections. It makes perfect sense, the Texas connection. And right here, the flooding in Texas, it shows from July 4th and July 5th. So the 1345 connecting perfectly to the 4th and to the 5th. I don't think this is the only reason they did this. Perhaps there's another event relating to Jack's, his birthday or something like that. But I also have two other major flood dates or rain dates, hurricane. I don't know, it's a water event. It could be a tsunami, just like tsunami equals 25 right here. One of these dates is August 8th, because it's exactly 13 years, 45 days after iPet Goat 2 released. And this is probably going to be my next video about August 8th, and I'm going to show you guys more information and why I believe we're going to see some type of event disaster with water included in it, whether it's a flooding, hurricane, or tsunami, right? This date adds to 25 also, just like tsunami equals 25. Then I have another date in September I'm going to talk about. And that also relates to this, but not with the numbers 1345. It relates to solely this image in iPet Goat 2. We also currently have Tropical Storm Chantal closing in. It looks like it will hit on George Bush's birthday, right? The waves in his eyes, right? Now, just to change the subject a little bit, I'm also watching a couple dates related to the number 7. Now back in 2014, January 15th, 2014, Christine Lagarde made a speech about the economy, and she said, I'm going to test your numerology skills. And then she proceeded to talk about the magic number 7. It was really strange, and I'm wondering if it somehow connects to a couple dates this month in July. But anyways, I'm going to replay that video if you haven't heard it.
Good afternoon, and thank you very much for
I'll forward a bit.
Between our Western ourselves is the global economy and what we should expect for 2014. Now I'm going to test you numerology skills by asking you to think about the magic 7. Okay? Most of you will know that 7 is quite a number in all sorts of themes, religions, and I'm sure that you can compress numbers as well. So, if we think about 2014, all right, I'm just giving you 2014, you drop the 0, 14, 2 times 7. Okay, that's just by way of example, and we're going to carry on. So 2014 will be a milestone and hopefully a magic year in many respects. It will mark the 100th anniversary of the First World War back in 1914. It will mark the 70th anniversary, 70th anniversary, drop the 0, 7, of the Bretton Woods Conference that actually gave birth to the IMF. And it will be the 25th anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. 25th.
Did you hear? She said it will be the 25th anniversary of the Berlin Wall. And she said 25th. She said it twice. She first starts talking about the magic number 7. Then she says 25 twice, right? So, what are we in? We're in the 7th month in the year 25, right? And so, I'm looking at these dates. 7/7/25 reduces to 7/7/7. But look at this date, 7/25/25. It reduces to 7/7/7 and also adds up to 77. 7 plus 25 plus 20 plus 25. And also, if you multiply the numbers, 7 times 2 times 5 times 2 times 5, it equals 700. And it's also 11 years, 191 days after Christine Lagarde made this speech. So you got the 9/11 connection, right, to her speech. So these two dates are catching my eye, especially 7/25/25. Magic number 7, 25th, 25th, right? So if there was ever a day, it just seemed like it lined up with the magic number 7. 7/7/7 adds to 77. It multiplies to 700. This one is really catching my eye for something to occur. And she's talking about the economy. So, something to do, obviously, with our stock market or whatever. It could be the dollar. If something were to happen on this day, or the beginning, starting on this day, or on 7/7/25. But anyways, that's all I got for you guys in this video, and I will talk to you next time. Take care.